break your little bubble, but you gotta wake up to reality. 'Cause I can see in your eyes, your head is full.
I'm not going to bore you with the specs if it's got 42 floating, gimbal, bit, HD, 44.4 D-Log, hyper-corrected, super smooth. I'm just going to tell you if it's any good or not. But let's go take a ride in my Jeep, and let's go to the forest, and let's go to the town, and let's see how this performs in a real-world situation. So here we are. This is my review of the DJI Pocket 3. I'm not going to go through the technical specifications because they're easier to find anywhere. It does a lot. It's a great camera. There's not a lot of concessions. If you are an aspiring vlogger and you want to get one camera that's not a phone, get this. So I got my Sony, but look at the size of this thing. It's still pretty small for a camera, but it's just very hard to argue against the DJI Pocket 3. So why would you say no to this camera? The only people I would say it's not good for is if you have a whole ecosystem of similar cameras, like if you have a lot of gimbals already. But then I think you're just going to be bummed out by not having this because it's just so convenient. Okay, so here we are in Fern Forest and we're testing out the Pocket 3. It's a great little camera. I love how they kind of disrupted the whole vlogging space and kind of made so many different setups sort of obsolete. It's kind of like when MP3s came out, you know, we knew they didn't sound as good as CDs, but they were so convenient, so you just forgive its shortcomings for convenience. And I feel like that's what this camera does in a lot of ways, except it doesn't really have that many shortcomings. So it's a dream camera. I've been looking for this kind of setup for a long time. I'm trying to make it from different components, and I just really wanted something small with good stabilization, good in low light, and good audio. And this ticks all those boxes. You don't really sacrifice much. So would I recommend this camera? Yeah, if you're going to be vlogging, especially yourself, this perspective, absolutely. Especially if you're going to be out and about. If you were just recording in a studio, I'd say no. I'd say look at a mirrorless camera. Or if you're doing action stuff mostly, then get an action camera. But if you want to do this kind of stuff, walking around, walking and talking, it's great. I like how it keeps your face in it, so like as much as you spin around, it doesn't matter. Your face stays centered. It's pretty cool. So you can move your arm around, keeps your face in the frame. It's a nice feature. So this way you can get different angles like this. You could look forward and talk. I don't think there's anything better out there right now, and anything that is better is going to be a lot bigger. So that makes it less perfect. You got to carry a backpack around or big camera bag. This isn't quite pocket size, that's why I put a clip on it. The clip makes it pretty handy. I could actually, here I'm going to hang it from a tree and see how this works. Make sure I don't lose it. All right, so it is upside down, which I expected, but I am hanging it on a branch. So that little hook I put at the bottom of my DJI Pocket 3, I don't know if you can see that, there you go. This is a tripod keychain mount. Very clever little thing. So when I am walking around with it and I don't want to hold it, I need two hands, I just put this clip around my shorts. Or you could put it on a branch like I did earlier. Very handy. But this thing, while you're filming, you can just clip it on any pair of shorts. It's not too heavy, it's not going to pull down your pants. And all of a sudden you got two hands free, which you need. There's no way you want to walk around with this. Maybe you're drinking something. Maybe you got to use your two hands to grab something. There's nowhere to put this thing down. It doesn't fit in jeans pockets very easily. You have to jam it in. You can just hold it. You can just clip it on something. Not only that, it's incredibly useful for like tree branches and things. I mean, there isn't a place where you can't hang this thing, literally. I'll find where I bought it and link it in the description because that just opens up a lot of pathways with this camera. Just being able to hook it on a tree branch or a fence. I think it's small and infinitely useful, probably more useful than the tripod. Interestingly lit area, definitely challenging for any camera with exposure and stuff. We've got the sun right there coming through trees. There's a lot of shadows. The sun's coming in the background. I'll stand in front of it. But the DJI Pocket 3 handles these lighting situations very well. I'm surprised. So now I put it on the mini tripod and I have face tracking enabled so that I could walk around and it's like a cameraman is following me. And that's one of the coolest things about this camera. And you're getting the good mic with the mic, DJI Mic 3 that I have on a magnet right here. So it doesn't matter how far I am, you're getting crystal clear audio, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's doing a good job. Actually, you got to turn it off sometimes because it drives people crazy with all the moving around. So sometimes it's better to have it off. So it's got a lot of pluses going for it. I love the size of this thing. I love that you can actually see the screen now. You couldn't on the Pocket 2. And I love that it handles low light like a champ. You don't really have to worry when you're in a low light situation, which is a big deal because I film a lot in low light. I think we all do. We're going to go into town and try this camera out. And by the time we get there, it's probably going to be low light settings. Ass city. It's my kind of city. Okay, now I'm going to try a motion lapse right on the street corner. Right here. Here, let me show you. I'm going to do it right here. Right outside of Taco Craft. All right, so that was a motion lapse. I wanted to try it out. Not the most ideal conditions. As you can see, it's twilight, but it's handling the low light very well. That's what I love about this camera. I mean, in most situations, I'd be pretty nervous filming when it's this dark, or you'd have to fiddle with your lenses and get the right settings. Like I said, this camera just works. And that's what makes it so great. Let's go back to Ass City. Welcome to Ass City. Let's go take a tour. It's a fun camera. You see I'm smiling, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's so nice to have such a lightweight, small camera to be able to do this quality of video. And with all these features, there's really nothing like it. I don't even know how this is a review. I mean, it's basically like, do you need this camera? Do you think you need this camera? Then get this camera. Can you afford this camera? Get this camera. There's only two scenarios where I don't think a YouTuber or a vlogger shouldn't get this camera. That's if you do mainly action stuff or if you're doing mainly studio stuff. So if you're doing mainly action stuff, get the Action 4 or get the new Ace Pro by Insta360. If you're going to be in the studio, get the ZV-E10 with a lens like a 15 millimeter, 11 millimeter, 20 millimeter, and do your videos that way because you'll have a little bit more depth of field, more control, maybe a little bit better quality image, but for 95% of the scenarios, this thing works. So.